sloppy thinking disguised in theological language. Recently, I started to apply the basic rules of logic to what I perceived as irrational theological arguments. One commenter accused me of being a proponent of natural theology. Natural theology seeks to provide arguments for theological topics based on reason and the discoveries of science. It is a program of inquiry into the existence and attributes of God without referring or appealing to any divine revelation. Natural theology aims to adhere to the same standards of rational investigation as other philosophical and scientific enterprises, and is subject to the same methods of evaluation and critique. Let's examine this argument more closely. 1. Natural theology seeks to make theological conclusions based solely on human reason and scientific evidence, without relying on divine revelation. It applies the empirical methods of science to questions of faith. 2. However, the spiritual realm and metaphysical truths are beyond the scope of the scientific method. Science is limited to the physical, observable universe. It cannot adequately address questions of ultimate meaning, ethics, the human soul, or the existence of God. 3. Therefore, natural theology is fallacious because it tries to draw theological conclusions using tools that are inappropriate and incapable of fully addressing spiritual and metaphysical topics. It denies or ignores the metaphysical nature of faith and religious truth. 4. Science cannot prove or disprove the existence of God or spiritual realities. Its methods of evaluation cannot be properly in good faith because they fail to even acknowledge the metaphysical. Natural theology is limited by this closed view of knowledge and truth. 5. Theology should not rely solely on science and reason, but also divine revelation. A balanced understanding recognizes both the powers of human reason, but also its limitations, especially regarding spiritual realities. There are inherent flaws and limitations of natural theology. By confining itself to reason and evidence alone, it fails to fully grasp spiritual and revealed truth. All this considered, let us examine the other side of the argument. Faith without reason leads to superstition, while reason without faith leads to empty materialism. A coherent worldview requires both in balance. Examining ideas for logical consistency and coherence with reality is not deism or natural theology, it is simply rational thinking. Feelings alone should not be the basis for truth or faith. Emotions can be misleading and subjective. Faith must be grounded in facts and reason to have meaning and substance. If faith contradicts reason and evidence, then it descends into irrationality. A reasonable faith understands that while God is beyond human comprehension, God is not contrary to reason. Reason and evidence point to God as the uncaused cause, the prime mover. Reality is what it is, regardless of our beliefs. For faith to be meaningful, it must align with the truth. The truth will not bend itself to our faith. Reason is our only means of discovering and understanding truth, both natural and revealed. A faith that rejects reason and evidence cannot stand, for it has cut itself off from meaning, purpose, and real knowledge of the created order. Examining ideas for coherence with reason and reality is the only way to know what is actually true. Mere feelings prove nothing. While faith is a grace from God, He does not call us to an unthinking, irrational faith. Theology and philosophy should walk hand in hand, using reason to understand what is revealed, not contradicted. This article is available on the Ko-fi page linked in the description. If you like this concise content by Lloyd de Jong, please subscribe on Ko-fi for more, and support more of this work there. Here on YouTube, please like the content with the thumbs up, share it, and subscribe to the channel.